everybody. Randy Patterson here with Boomerocity, and this episode I've got a pretty cool interview that I think you guys are going to love. You probably haven't heard of this guy though. His name is Brett Hellings, and he's got an EP coming out, but I wanted to talk with him during the release or about the release of a single from the EP. Because I want you guys to hear of him and keep an eye on him, following him on social media, because this guy's got tremendous talent, both as a songwriter, as a vocalist, as a performer, and as well as a musician. I mean, this guy's the full package, and I think you're really going to like what he does. Now, check out who the musicians are on this album or on this EP. In addition to himself, there's Richard Fortus of Guns N' Roses. He's the guitarist and produced this album, or this EP. Darryl Jones, you know that name from the Rolling Stones. He's been their bassist for quite a few years, and one of those guys still on my bucket list that I want to interview. And then there's the legendary drummer and bassist Charley Drayton. He's played with Miles Davis, Herbie Hancock, Bob Dylan, Johnny Cash, and a whole cast of others. And then finally you had Carey Frank on there, who's a multi-instrumentalist. He's played with everybody from Bruce Springsteen to Michael Bublé. So just hearing those names, if you haven't heard the video or seen the video or heard the song, just with those names being involved and associated with the song, you already know it's going to be phenomenal, and it is. So this chat with Brett is my first, and I hope there's many, many, many more in the future. I think, again, I give this interview the full listen, and go follow him on social media. Sign up to his newsletters on his website, and pay attention to this guy. He's worth your time. As always, I ask that you hit like and you hit subscribe if you're not already a subscriber, and please share this interview with your friends. So without any further ado, here is my first of what I know will be many more interviews in the future with Brett Hellings. Until next time, this is Randy Patterson with Boomerocity. Take care.
Hi.
Hello,
Hey, how are you?
hold on, I've got a problem on my end here. Let me double check it out.
Oh, good.
I don't want there to be feedback. I'm putting this in. I got to do it the old-fashioned way. Pardon me.
Oh, good.
You never know what's going to run into this. All
Oh,
right,
man, I go through this all the time.
Come on, you sorry rascal. Well, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to put it on the speakers and hope we get no feedback.
Yeah, I know. All that. It's all about that feedback when it comes to this stuff, huh?
It sounds great from the stage, but not in this
Oh,
studio.
yeah, right? Your stage monitors sound good, but sometimes it's interference. I go through it all the time with these interviews. I'm like, oh, my goodness, got to get down here, set it all up, make sure we look good and sound good. Yeah. It's worth it, though, to talk
That's
to people.
right.
Like you, so, yeah.
Man, I love where you're clicking in from, man. You decorate like a man after my own heart, man. Stones, Beatles.
How could you get any better than the two greats? You know,
that's right.
I put them together. I don't have choices or sides on that one. They're both great, and I both listened to them. And I don't have my Zeppelin one up. I have Elvis over here, and I have my Aerosmith one, and you can't see my whole studio, but this is kind of my space, you know.
I mean, I don't want to mess up your camera or anything, but which Elvis picture do you have?
I have, let me see if I can get it for you. I have the one that is the motorcycle one. Did you see it?
Oh, yeah. I think that's from,
one.
Isn't it from Follow That Dream or something?
I think so. I think it was one of his movies that he was doing. He was doing the James Dean, the
motorcycle.
Marlon Brando, which he loved. And
yeah,
I love that era of him. And in the 50s and early 60s, and I just, Elvis is the king. He's a king for a reason.
I think I'm a little bit older than you, quite a bit older than you, in fact. But
I don't know.
I'm 60. I'm going to turn 67 in October.
Oh, so. Nice, amazing! I love people that have made it. That's what I say. I was like, you made it when you made it.
Sliding in barely, but
I know,
there.
right? But we still got there, right? I'm 44, so
all right, good deal.
Yeah.
You're a little bit older than my daughter.
Oh,
But
nice. Very
yeah,
cool. Yeah.
but my first concert ever was Elvis,
Oh, that's so cool.
and I was 13 years old. Is in Phoenix, Arizona on an Easter Sunday. I
Yeah.
get there a couple of hours early because I don't want to miss a thing, right? I'm
Yeah.
standing up at the stage looking at everything, especially that gorgeous black Gibson Dove
Oh,
guitar.
yeah. I know that one.
Yeah.
That hollow
And I'm,
body.
yeah. And I'm standing there and I notice movement to one of the sides of me. I turn and look, and with his Alfred Hitchcock profile, it was the Colonel.
He
Yeah,
had one too.
yeah. And I said, "Are you the Colonel?" And he's got his cigar in his mouth.
Yeah.
He just nods.
Hmm?
And
Yes, sir.
I said, where? Yeah, I said, where was Elvis before today? And he tells me. And I said, where was it after? And
Yeah.
he tells me. And I don't know. Asked another question or two, and then I said, can I go backstage to meet him? And he goes, nope. And he turned around and walked off.
No. Are you female? No. Okay. Right?
I would hope that was apparent even at 13 years old.
I know, right? Seriously. We're hoping, right?
That's right. I'm still hoping.
Yeah, seriously. Oh, what a great story, though. I
Yeah.
would have loved to just meet the Colonel back then. That is just an amazing character within the Elvis story, you know? What a manager he was, and just fought for him and did what he needed to do to make him the biggest act in the world. I think that behind every great band too, they have this amazing manager where Peter Grant, you know.
Oh yeah, Zeppelin.
And I've seen, like and all those guys, you know. And
Yeah.
so it's interesting. I think the Stones had their own kind of management going on. I think Mick Jagger was doing a lot of that managing, which is cool. I respect that about him, you know.
Well, I think he's underappreciated for his business and marketing prowess.
Yeah.
And
He's still doing it to this day. He's still
Yep.
getting, people to talk about them. And as they're even getting older, doing new stuff. And then whether you like it or you don't like it, he's always being talked about. He knows how to, market
Yep.
very, very good, getting everything stirred up and to the right degree so it doesn't lose too much credibility. So I respect that. I've studied his model for a while, as you can see.
Yeah. Well, another model I like to study and would love to learn more about, and I've asked him a question or two about it, and that's Joe Bonamassa's, because
Joe's
he owns everything from soup to nuts, right?
So he does, and it's
he's-
amazing to see how much he goes into the business side, takes his money, invests it well, and also just his whole thing. It's been always underground, but just rising, and I love that. He never really kind of did that sellout thing. And it was
Right.
Kenny Arnoff, who I did the record with Borderline. He plays with Joe, and so
Yep.
him and Satriani. So they have a little super group, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Kenny plays with everybody, though. Kenny plays with God. I think I'm not sure. I think if God were to choose a drummer, I think it would be Kenny Arnoff.
That's true. That's true.
So.
Well, Brent, this is a pleasure to get to meet you. I love this
absolutely.
single, man. The single is I mean, I was expecting, a big hard rock cruncher of a song, and I was caught off guard, and pleasantly
a lot of people
so.
are. Yeah. Right.
So it's, correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like it's a deeply personal and universally relatable song from my perspective. What was happening in your life emotionally when you wrote that song?
Well, I was writing for the new EP that I was going to do with Rich, and me and Rich got back together, which Rich Fortus, I don't know if you guys know, is a guitar player for Guns N' Roses. He also does psychedelic furs. He's played with Thin Lizzy. He's also a great producer. So me and him have hit it up, got into the studio again, and we wanted to create something that was a little bit more me, where on the Borderline record, what we did down in El Paso, where we met, it was a lot of different songwriters and a lot of different opinions and people coming in and, making their songs great, which is awesome. But this one, he was like, I just want to take your songwriting and bring it to life. So I kind of spent that summer writing, and this song came out in the middle of me just, trying my best to come up with this, a certain amount of material that we could use. And it came out of nowhere. It was like a divine, I keep saying divine because it was so spiritual when it happened. It just kind of came to me as I'm sitting with my newborn. I have a little daughter, she's 3, and she was involved in the room with us, me and my girl Katie too. And it was just like this thing hit me, and it was so clear and the message was so universal, like you said, that I was like, wow, this is so different for me. And it's I kind of wrote it in this falsetto-y kind of Smokey Robinson Motown way, and then
Yeah.
Rich wanted me to kind of go like, let's go to like the U2 Michael Hutchins sort of like vibe with your voice and see what your low register sounds like, and that's kind of how I start the song off. But it wrote itself very quickly, and I think it was just all the love in the room, and I swear an angel gave it to me or some craziness, you know. It was just it felt like so whoa. I know I'm receiving this message, and that's what you really are working towards all the time as a songwriter. You're just sitting there waiting for someone to give it to you, you know, and it takes a long time for that. I don't recommend staying up all night like I mostly have done trying to find that. Just get up each morning and try to do it. But I've done it both ways, and this one just came and it was clear and it was from my heart, you know, and as soon as some certain people heard it, they were just like, "Wow, that's so different for you." And I always am trying to do something a little bit different with what I do. I'm always not trying to stay in a box. I just don't think that that's what you should do as an artist, especially an artist that wants to continue on for a long amount of time. So I tried something different, and it looks like it's working out.
Very good. I know that I have only one daughter and one child. It's my daughter I mentioned to you about. And I remember when she was born, I was out running errands. My then wife was still in the hospital with her. And I just remembered a Billy Joel song came on, Leave a
Mm,
Tender Moment Alone, while I was driving.
mm.
And I looked down, I realized I didn't buckle my seatbelt, and I was not in the habit at that time. I
Yeah.
said, "There's a young mouth depending on me.
Oh,
I need to buckle up."
yeah.
And I've never not buckled since then, in
Wow.
almost 42 years.
Wow.
Uh,
What a story that is. You start to buckle up, right? You
That's
start to do
right.
things a little differently when you know that you have a little one that you have to look after and nurture and do all that. You think you don't take as many chances. I mean, I took a lot when I was growing up on the Sunset Strip and doing that thing. And man, when I go back there and we just played LA, we were out there that last week. I do the things a lot differently, you know. It's programmed in you, you know. It's just you got to get home. You got to make sure that you're good and good for her, but good for yourself. And that's what I think she's really changed my life in that sort of way of really getting me more concentrated on music. I thought it would maybe take it away from the music, but all she's done is give me more and made me more healthy
Yeah.
and made me a better man. So I can't thank her enough for that.
How old is she?
She's 3. She just turned 3. She's
Wow.
3 in
Oh,
a couple months. Yeah.
whew.
So it's a crazy time. 3
You
is
got through the terrible twos.
I got through. I
Oh,
think it's the triple threat threes is the
oh,
like the attitude, the
you're like, no,
the
Daddy.
obedience, and then the cuteness. Because as soon as they're cute, you're right back in. As
That's
soon as
right.
they do one thing, so you're like done. So I love it though. It's really challenging, but I couldn't see myself doing anything else but being around my new family and writing about it. And it's definitely challenging, but it's like I said before, it's really made me such a more solid individual, more concentrated, more focused on the good stuff in life.
Right, right. I think there needs to be a lot more of that. There's enough
Yeah.
darkness around,
Oh
and
yeah.
I love the blues, but sometimes I want to smile too. So
Got to keep on smiling. Got to keep on smiling.
that's right.
I agree with you. I took that route with like rock and roll, and you have to live the lifestyle to write it, and you have to go through heartache and pain and all that kind of stuff, and you do, and it seasons you. But really, most of the world is like that. But in my experience of traveling and being in New York, LA, all over the United States, and of course Nashville and all those places, there's more bad, there's more evil, there's more of that dark tone than there is the good. And if it's good, it's kind of faked. So I was like, you know what, to be real and to be positive and bring that light is kind of one of my missions. And I think it's always been that way. So you go through different phases, but bringing the light and bringing someone a little bit of joy each day and is really, I think, our main mission as humans. And if we could do that all together, I think we'd have a better world.
You mentioned Richard Fortus already, and God,
Yeah.
would I ever love to interview him. I've interviewed Dizzy Reed and Bumblefoot, back
Yeah.
when they were with the band, and
Oh, so cool.
yeah, they're great people. And I think I read in there that he said in the one sheet that I got from the publicist that he was hearing, and you mentioned it, Otis Redding. I think he also mentioned Al Green, Steven Tyler, and Mick
He did.
Jagger in your
He gave me
voice.
all. He gave me all the compliments. I was a little humble. I was like, you can't say that many good singers, in one sentence.
Well, how did that feel hearing that from somebody at the level of Richard?
I was. It was like the first time like Alice Cooper played me on a show or something like that, or where I got some really big opportunities to open up for people. It was like one of those moments because I didn't hear that it was filmed for an EPK that were putting out to people for about the record and everything. And when I first heard it, I was like, wow, that's such a great compliment. And also, I can now hear it because he said it. I was like,
Yeah,
I grew up listening to all that Motown and R&B of of the Rev and Otis and Marvin Gaye and Smokey Robinson and all that kind of stuff with my dad. So I grew up listening to that, and I didn't even know what I was listening to at the time. And then when I got into my teens, of course, then the grunge movement came, and I got into SCP, and that led into Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, and then I got me into the Stones because they all were listening to those guys, and Zeppelin and all that kind of stuff. So, but I was like, wow, he nailed it because I really have listened to those people so much, and then created my own style around it and made it mine. And I couldn't be more. It really was a kind of a quote that I can live with for it could be put on my tombstone kind of thing. I'm like, all right, I'm good. Thank you, Rich. I'm good for a couple of years. You don't have to compliment me. It's an amazing compliment. I can't. And I'm really not a huge fan of comparison, but when it comes to something that's legendary and great and give someone a reference, it's just so I'm just honored for him, especially him, and how meticulous and forthright he is with his opinion. He doesn't give it out much. He doesn't really need to, and he doesn't say things he doesn't mean. So coming from it's gold, for me.
well, and it sounds like you're receiving it in the right kind of healthy spirit, so
Absolutely,
that it
humbleness, not
you
and
gotta
not.
have it, man.
Oh
Gotta
yeah,
have it.
that ego thing has bit me too many times. You know what I mean? It's not.
Hasn't it all of us?
Oh yes, it is. It is. It's a thorn in my side sometimes, but I've learned to kind of be grateful, and then it stays around a lot longer. I think
Yeah,
when you have that attitude, the universe, God, and your spiritual nature. When you're grateful, it gives you to people that want it or and that are thankful for it.
yeah.
That's just period.
And he knows when we're faking. So
Oh yeah, he's the only one that really knows.
that's right.
So I know I don't like that about him because I can't get one up on him. I've been trying for a long time.
Yeah,
But
haven't we all?
I know. It's just maybe next time.
I quit trying.
Yeah, right. I quit
Just
trying.
take my word for
I
it.
just
Just
go.
quit
Oh,
trying.
just forgive me, please.
What was your reaction the first time you heard Richard's additions to your original demo?
First, when I heard it, I was like blown away because it was very different from what I wrote. Not so much in the chord progressions and the feel, but just the way that he was like. I wrote it on piano, so he played the guitar. And he had this amazingly orchestrated sort of part that went with his strings parts and amazing orchestrated guitar part that I was just like, wow, what an intro! It's different than my timing. You always get this demoitis, as me and some of the guys have talked about. You always are hearing it a certain way, but then when you're hearing something different, you're like, wow, I have to be so open right now. And then all of a sudden, it becomes something. Oh my god, I can't hear it any other way. That's Richard Fortus. It's
Right.
perfect. But of course, as a songwriter, you're always like, that's not it. Because you've been in your basement for 2 years
That's
doing
your
the same
baby.
thing. Yeah. But he made it so much more modern and so much more feel and he did things to it that just advanced it and didn't take anything away. And he did that a lot with my songwriting. He never took anything and made it he just made it better, and he just took it and go and went, this is where I think we should go with it. What do you think, B? And I was always like, yeah. It never, nothing he ever gave to me was ever bad, or even close to being bad. It was just
Right.
good. And now great. I couldn't imagine the song any other way. So especially recorded and what he did, and especially how he built it, and he's just a master at that kind of stuff. So I was very, very pleased. It took me a little bit to warm up. It always does, It's your baby, like you said, and you kind of have to start to let it go. And once you do, you don't know the opportunities that can have. I really kind of almost related to having a child. It's at a certain time you have to kind of let them be free and do
Yeah.
what they are supposed to do, and what they feel, and that's hard because you're so protective of it, and it's your heart, so
Yep.
but I did, and now we're hearing it as it is, and I can't imagine writing and doing anything better with anyone but Rich. There's no better than Richard Fortus. He's just the man. So
To that whole point, with his impact and influence on you on changing those songs and, in your words, making them better, how has all of that process on there changed how you write songs now since you've got these together?
a little. I think actually a lot actually, in a different way than you might think. I would overproduce and over demo things and sit there and try to make it perfect, especially with just the instruments and drum tracking. And I have a little Logic studio down here, and I'm always like creating the rhythm and stuff like that. And really, it started with me just kind of um sitting there with a guitar or sitting there with a piano, and all of a sudden I was kind of like, let's develop this thing and let's make it bigger and badder, and really I would start to lose the rhythm of what I was actually writing. So what he would do with me, he goes, I don't want you to do any of that stuff. I just want you to go and just give me the lyrics, give me your melody, give me the basic stripped down thing, and let me bring it to life. And I go, wow. So it really changed how much I was really, um, uh, impacted by how little you really need to give these guys. They really just want the moment, the lightning moment that you get when you're actually, in it and writing, and they don't really want all that hoopla. So I was like, wow, that's so cool that I could just now just write a chorus, write a verse, something like that, and then all of a sudden, give it to them and make it, then they bring it to life. So it did really change how I over obsessed about recording and demoing, because then it doesn't leave enough room for them to really make it theirs as well.
Right,
If
right.
you're always, and then it also kind of screws with you because you're always inside your head that it needs to be this way. So
Right.
if you leave the original kind of God divine of moment, the channeling just happen, and then give it to the best musicians in the world, you're going to find something really cool happens. So I learned to just leave it at that. You're receiving this message, leave it at there instead of like trying to alter it or make it better, because it's just a gift.
Yep.
Give the gift to the people that can actually really bring it to life.
Good points. Where are you clicking in from, by the way? I forgot to ask you that.
Oh, I'm in outside of Philadelphia. That's
Oh,
where I was.
okay. We're both
Yeah.
in the Eastern time zone then.
Oh, cool.
So
Yeah, we're both East Coast boys, right? Is that,
yeah,
are you
well,
going to,
more or less.
yeah.
I'm
Are you down
actually
south?
down. I'm down south. Main studio is in the Smoky Mountains, way down south, as those
Oh,
guys over your right shoulder sang once upon a time. So
they did. I love that area. So I would always travel down south for all kinds of different occasions, and also I live down south in Nashville. I don't
uh,
really consider that the South. That little Nashville spot is such a unique
it's an
mecca.
anomaly.
Yeah, really. It's not really the South, but I
No.
went out with girls from the South and stuff, so I got to see the real South, and there's just such a sweetness to it, and such a coolness.
Where'd you
And
grow up in the South?
I didn't grow up in the South, so I grew
Oh,
up in Pennsylvania,
oh, okay,
Westchester
okay.
County. But I went down in Nashville, and I lived mostly in Tennessee for years and years, and Memphis. I would always go to Memphis, getting close to Elvis,
Yeah.
seeing that sort of thing. Been to Arkansas, and then also we would go down to Florida all the time. I'm not really sure if that's considered the South either. That's its own little pocket,
It's
right?
South New York.
Yeah, right. Everybody goes on vacation, basically.
That's right. That's right.
But I played down in Atlanta, and I have a place called the Earl, and it was an amazing a place to be. Everything's so hot down there, especially during the summer. But there's some sort of charm that I just really got off on, and the simplicity of the way of life, and I really loved. My sound has a lot of Southern rock in it from being inspired by the Crows and Skinner
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and all that stuff. So I really wanted to go down there and get that vibe. And I will still say that Nashville still has some of the best musicians and
Oh
pickers,
yeah.
songwriters out there. Whether it's a pop, a popularized sort of country, I wear the hat and I got the steel guitar, or just guitar players in general. I think they just come out playing, from the womb sort
Yeah.
of thing. They're
Yeah.
just like they're incredible musicians down there. I think the songwriting is a little trite at times, it could get like that, just like with most of the culture nowadays. But I think it has it just it's deep rooted in them.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely a patina in the soil there that I don't even know if that goes together. Patina is usually metal.
I like it. I might
But,
use that, by the way.
feel free to.
That's a very Kurt line.
But yeah, I worked there for about a year. I was downtown and right near the Ryman, and I loved it there. After work every night, I'd just go. I was invited to showcases because of what I do
Oh yeah.
in this, and get to meet all sorts of people. There's just something about Nashville that fuels and fertilizes networking, good networking, and
Really good networking.
yeah.
But besides how much alcohol they consume, they're really good musicians. That's what that's the only thing I can say about it. I'm like, for me, especially in that time, I was like, that's not a healthy place for me to go because like there's a bar everywhere. I
Yeah,
don't know of
yeah.
anybody that's getting out of there sober.
Yeah, right, right.
But it's in such a joyous way, and it has music's all around it. So it's
Yeah,
like, wow, it's so cool. And I have to say that it's some of the best shows I've seen and best musicians on a local level or regional level. In Nashville, you don't have that as much in LA. LA is more of like a style thing, and there what used to be a scene, and I lived in and out of that scene for decades now. But it has Nashville has a different sort of thing. So does New York. They all have their own little pockets. It's not as big as it used to, though. There's still scenes, except for Nashville. Nashville really does have this thing going on down there,
I
and
think
I
I
miss
think
it.
they're the people from LA and New York are moving there.
I think everybody. I mean, I know so many people from LA that especially after the fires in LA and that were happening, they all kind of and the lack of work, they all went to Nashville
Yeah,
or Vegas. They're
yeah,
Vegas, which is it's either Nash Vegas or Las Vegas.
yeah.
You're gonna get at least work. You're gonna
That's
at least
right.
be playing and doing whatever. But as a songwriter, it was difficult because I'm not really into playing covers or doing that kind of thing or getting work. I'm looking for the song. So it's good to go to all those places and get what you can from it and just be
Right.
inspired and live life and do that thing. But I have love for all of the places I've been. They've all taught me and made me a certain person and added to my my story. So
Yeah. What made you decide to film the music video in New York City?
my director,
Okay.
Oliver Hoffman. He is his dad is a really famous photographer, which is called Ross, and I met him on when we were recording the album in Brooklyn for this new EP, and we hit it off. We were just like really good friends, and he was starting to show me around everywhere around New York because he just moved there. So he moved there, I think, from England, and he's from England, and then he was thinking about going to LA, and he was like, I'm gonna set up in New York, and I was kind of based in Philly, so he goes, why don't we just shoot it there? That'd be really fun. And so he got a camera crew together, and I just went around New York and just danced around the streets, and it was crazy. I've never been in New York and being so vulnerable in New York. I was just like, wow, let's go to Little Italy. Let's go to Chinatown. Let's go to Grand Central, the park, and all of a sudden, and let's go on the subway. Let's do everything and just shoot you. And I was like, wow, this is one of the coolest experiences. I'm very dreamlike. I'm like, why am I in New York right now and I'm being asked to sing in Little Italy, And I'm like, oh my God, this is amazing. And we just wanted to get that vibe from the melting pot of New York and the multicultural sort of, love that can happen between, you know, father, son, ethnic, anything, black, white, Asian, all of it. We just wanted to bring it all together because I think really at the core of Chance on Love, the song is about taking a chance on yourself, which is loving yourself so you can love other people, and that's really what it's about. And that doesn't have a color or a race or anything,
That's right.
So that's where I really wanted to, as you said, the song when I wrote it, it was so universal to me. I was like, oh man, I'm losing my edge, I was too pop, and I'm like, and God said, no, this is perfect. You need to sing this and you can, and just sing it. And then I when I had my baby there and I was like, okay, I can sing this. And so it's a little difficult for me to get into. It's so weird because it's coming to you and you're like, I don't know if I really want to do this. And sometimes you don't have a choice,
That's right. Well, you had, in addition to Richard Fortus, you had the great Darryl Jones from the Stones. I mean,
oh, yes.
What was that like, man?
I think that was one of probably the coolest and most life-changing experiences for me and I've worked with a lot of great people and they're all great and they're all amazing. They all have their thing. But Darryl, for me, I got to Uber with him from the Soho Grand to our studio almost every day. So we would all get picked up and I would, and this is early in the morning, or early for us, 9, 10.
The crack of noon.
I know. We're just getting our coffee and we're doing a thing, So, but I would just sit there and, kind of fan out a little bit because I've been seeing him on stage for so long and him being that close to Keith. I would just, ask him Keith stories, but it's really cool. Like, okay, I can't be too fanny. I'm actually in the studio with this person. So, but it was really difficult for me to kind of go, so what is he really like? And he would be like, all right, I know. Well, let me tell you a story. And he would tell me all these stories about him and Keith hanging out and when he would get mad, when he would get glad, how he was like, what he was like. And it came down to, he's just a really great person, Brett. I go, wow, that's so cool to hear that, one of your heroes that was writing all that amazing material is still just, was a good person. And so just that in itself. And then hearing him play, he is just so automatic because, besides the Stones, he played with, Miles Davis. And Miles Davis is probably one of the most, electric, improvisational musicians and natural musicians of all time. And to play with him, I think you could hear that come out in his playing.
Yeah.
And so he is just one of those, individuals I just can't get over that I played with. I got to record with, to be honest. It was just a dream come true.
I can only imagine. I've got to interview Chuck Leavell 3 or 4 times from the Stones, keyboardist and music director. Lisa Fisher, not long after she left the Stones.
Very cool. Yeah.
And Bobby Keys before he died.
Oh my gosh, you got to.
And Bernard Fowler, of course. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is amazing, man.
The first or second time? I think the second time I interviewed him was it was in Atlanta. They were getting ready to play at the that big college stadium there, Georgia Tech Stadium. And I was interviewing him at the Ritz. And I pulled out because Bobby had died since the first time I had interviewed Bernard Fowler. And I took the clip because when I was going to interview him the first time, I called Bobby back, or I made arrangements to call him back to get his thoughts on Bernard.
Yeah.
And so I clipped that whole thing. And back in those days, I was just writing these things. I would transcribe and,
Yeah.
didn't have this audio and video and such. And I snipped just that part of what he was saying about Bernard. And I put it on the flash drive and I gave it to him and we played it. And Bernard just sitting there listening.
Yeah.
And then he goes, Bobby always had the best weed. And then he proceeds to tell a story about Bobby Keys and weed and this giant fan to get the smell out of the hotel room.
Oh my goodness.
Anyway.
Well, by his plan, it was pretty smooth. That's all I have to say. He's one of my biggest saxophone, loves in my music, catalog. And I have to say that I saw the Stones for the first time in Vegas, and it was in 2000, I think, or in the 2000 area when Bobby was still alive, and I got to see Mick Taylor go up and Bobby Keys.
Whoa!
All three guitar players together with Bobby playing "Can't You Hear Me Knocking," and I was like, "Forget about it. I'm blown out of my mind." Little did I know Darryl's up there that I would get to play with someday.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, and then I would see them. I saw him in LA, and I would always be like, he's a cool brother on bass, always, But then I got to really meet him, be with him, and see what he's all about. And he is class act. So like one of the coolest people and performers, and also just really good in the studio. Him and Charley, and not to bring him up, but Charley Drayton, who also played with Keith and was a part of the Expensive Wonders. They just have this bond, and they're best friends. They have keys to their apartments, and they're just so tight. And for a rhythm section to be that tight and to be around those sort of legends, I was just so comfy in that studio. My songs were comfy. Everything that I was doing, I knew it was going to be great. I knew that there was no one's going to take this and make this anything different than just excellent. So that's what I got from that. So it was just an amazing experience. And also I got to see Chuck. I got to go backstage at the Stones concert when they're here at the Link, and I got to meet Chuck. He was there. And
when was that?
I was like in 2002, 2022, something like that.
22?
Yeah, it was 20. You remember the last Hockey Diamonds tour that they were on?
Yeah. Well, the last interview I did with him, he was in his hotel room there.
No way.
Yeah.
How cool.
So now you can watch that. He's in the hotel room so small world.
Oh, I gotta see it. He was, I think they were all at the Rittenhouse Square kind of thing, and because we picked up some special tickets, and we were like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. Stones are staying here. And I got to go to the concert, and there was a little backstage area where Darryl gave me a hug, and I got to experience all that. So he really hooked me up. I didn't get to see the big guys. They don't come out. They don't come out towards the people. They're
real tight
in.
about that.
Yeah. I was like, can I go in there? I'm like, no, Brad. I think you just get.
It's like Colonel Parker earlier, right? So
yeah.
No,
I love you, but I don't think he's seeing anybody today.
Was there any part when you were working? And by the way, let me stop real quick and ask you. I don't want to encroach on any other time with any other interviews. Are we good on time still?
Yeah, we are. Yeah,
okay,
absolutely. Yeah, we are.
I want to be respectful to the other people.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Was there any point when you were working on all this and all these top names around that you said, man, I can't believe these musicians are actually playing on my songs? I mean, were you like pinching yourself and afraid to wake up the next morning?
I was in the studio for a week with them, so I wasn't afraid to wake up the next morning because they'd still be there. But and the last day I was a little like, oh man, I can't believe this is ending, because I just learned so much from them. Regardless of us, creating great art together, I would just be around them and being with that level of professionalism, coolness, just style, and knowledge, really, and when you're a musician in my sort of thing that I wanted to do, my intention was always just to get better and grow and ride it out to my, to the end of my, my time here. And with those guys, they're the same. So to be with them, it feels like home, and it feels like brotherhood, and that's so cool. Them even being so successful and so much maybe even older than me, they still had that sort of, that feel. And I was like, wow, I just don't want it to really end. So I did get their numbers, so I get to text them when I want.
There you go. There you
and
go.
and and get get some knowledge if I ever need anything, or if they want to give me something, a little bit of their opinion, or anything like that. So I really, I during it, it was always a pinch you moment. It was always this thing of, oh wow, this is something that you've dreamt of when you were just a little kid. You were dreaming of this when you were 16 or
Yep.
15, and it's happening, and you're like, how and why? And because you dreamed it, you made it come to life. You never
Yep.
gave up, and there was many times throughout my career, because I'm a little older, and that I was always thinking, oh my goodness, and this is not going to happen. This can't. And I just continued to just dive into that. When you're having that faith moment of whether I'm supposed to do this or not, just dive deeper into the music. And what happens is pretty miraculous. Something real comes out of you, and it's really great. So, but to answer your question, the whole thing, pinch me, please, before I before I pass out. And,
What?
and it happened with the other record too. The Borderline record had the same feel. Like, what am I doing here? I must be doing something good, right? I must be doing something really cool, because the whole time you're always kind of second guess yourself. I know you're not supposed to, but you do as an artist. You're always
Right.
going, "Is this good? Is this good?" And then all of a sudden, when you're in a room like that, you kind of you get a little confirmation, like, wow, you're doing something that people dig, and timing, and it's just all there. So it's
Yep.
like, wow, so cool, and I can't wait to just do more of it, and very, very thankful. About one thing I could be is grateful and thankful for to be alive and to be doing it. And I think everybody should have that sort of mentality. We're here right now, and the great success is being still, taking your breath, and
That's
and
right.
yeah, and if you could be grateful for it, man, you get so many more.
That's right. That's right. What the I grew up in Phoenix, so Alice Cooper was, homeboy there, right? And I remember those first albums and everything. What I mean, the fact that he played your song for you, or on his show, he had to be a big door opener. What did that moment when he played your song mean for you personally and professionally, and how did he get to know about that song so that he wanted to play it?
So I was scouring the internet, and always promoting. I was living in Philadelphia actually at the time, and I met a girl named Mo Flanagan, and she kind of took a liking to what I was into, and she said, "I think I could get you to the program director over at Alice Cooper's, Nights with Alice Cooper." And of course, oh, it's the internet. I was like, "This is ridiculous." I've heard so many cats, fish tales and wives' tales, and whatever you want to call them. And I said, okay, if you could do that, that'd be amazing. I didn't think much of it, and she actually did get it done, and it started to get played
Wow.
through Catherine Thurman, on their show, and he did this big announcement, and I knew it was coming. And I still didn't believe it until the actual program, when he started to talk about my song, and that I was from LA, and me and my brother started the band and all that kind of stuff. And it was just one of those moments where I was like, oh my goodness, this is big. I think this is a big moment. As I recorded it, and it was just such a cool thing. And then right after that, it's when David Davidian came in, and David's Alice's tour manager, and he really took a liking to me. And that's how the Borderline record and all those people, that you see on that record, which included Rich, and that's how we met, went down to El Paso, and created that record. So he put that all around me when he heard me just being played once. And that's how something like that can really alter, your journey really quickly. And it came out of nowhere. It came out of like disbelief, like, this is not real, this is not going to happen. So anybody, now I'm not saying to believe everything all the messages you get on the internet,
Right.
or
Right.
Facebook or anything like that, but don't lose hope, because when it does come, it will come, and it will come for you if your intentions are right. So it was a game changer for me. I can't see myself. I don't even know where I would be if I didn't have that moment kind of happen, and
Yeah.
then and open up to all of this amazing musicians and world, and especially the credible world of the record industry. The guys that make it really happen. Not the big brands that you're kind of blinded by,
Right.
but the musicians and the songwriters. that have made those brands so big. So it was such an honor to have that kind of happen.
How long was it before you had to change your pants when all that happened?
Immediately.
Immediately.
I wasn't wearing pants. Actually, I was
I
in the
love your
bathtub.
humor. I think we
wasn't
could get
wearing
each other in trouble with our humor
right.
here.
To come to think of it, I wasn't wearing any. I was in the bathtub, but
You were doing the Jeffrey Tubin on that whole
yeah. Never do. That's good.
So what's the plan from here? You got this single out. What's next? And is there a tour involved?
Yeah, there's playing. So I got my itch back. I scratched it a little bit in LA. I went out to play the Whiskey on May 6th, and it was an amazing experience. I got a full rehearsal with all of my band out there that I've put together in LA, and we just did awesome. And we got asked to actually play the Troubadour on August 6th, which is going to be another big thing, but we're headlining, and so the whole night's being put around it. So we did pretty good at the Whiskey. So that's the first time I'm talking about it. I just got confirmation the other day, so I'm getting to go back out and play. During that time, we're going to release another single. I think "Are We Dreaming" is what we're going to choose, which is great. We have 6 songs that we're going to be releasing probably next year, sometime right around the first of the year. But we're hitting a couple singles with music videos and stuff to keep you kind of like listening to it and not being overloaded. And so we're releasing that, and then we're going to play, and then we're looking towards getting overseas. A lot of people over there. We've did a couple trips over there to London and Dublin, and we just really love the area. I think it just has this appreciation for music that America doesn't have as much. So we're going out there to play, and then I think we're going overseas. So, but be checking out our website at hellings.music and all of our socials. You'll know when we're going to be playing and when the new singles are going to be coming out and everything. I can't wait for everybody to hear it too. And this EP has such a diverse thing to it. Chance on Love is really, really soulful, ballady, triumphant sort of ending sort of song. But we have Power Trip on there, which we played at the Whiskey, and that's just straight up hard rock. And we got Silver Moon, which is such, that Skinnerd, Black Crowsy sort of feel, Two Blinds on there. And Are We Dreaming is like that in between sort of song that I think you're really going to dig. So just be looking out for it, and we're going to be out there playing and releasing stuff. So just give us a follow or a like, or message me. I'm always into like talking to anybody that's into what we're doing. So but that's the plan.
Well, if I'm going to be watching, of course, and maybe maybe when the whole EP is out, let's circle back and have another chat about it. And
you were one of my favorite interviews.
Well, thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
well, especially being such a big Stones fan and stuff
like
that.
Yeah. I've
nice
seen him 3 times, and that was
me too. I've done it 3 too.
Yeah, but you got to go backstage. I've never got to go backstage.
I got to kind of go in the
I hate you for that. You got
I did get a hug from Darryl when I went to the thing. I felt very special. Everybody looked at me like, "Oh wow, he's that white boy's getting a hug,"
Hey, I got no closer than the nosebleed seats, and I saw him in. True story. I saw him in Dallas the first time during the Bridges to Babylon tour.
Oh,
and
amazing.
It was at Texas Motor Speedway. In fact, the video from that tour, Mick mentions, he goes, "We were in Dallas with this big cement thing," and he was talking about that speedway, and I went at the last minute, bought tickets at the gate from people.
Wow, how cool.
And I was way up in the grandstands of the racetrack, and I'm glad I went, but man, I should have brought binoculars. And the second time I saw him was in Little Rock, and that was cool. I was a lot closer to him, but still opposite end. And then the last time was the one I told you about in Atlanta at that football stadium at Georgia Tech.
Yeah.
But I'm disappointed they're not on the road this year, but who knows?
I know. Well, it's everybody's getting a little older and things are happening, but I'm so glad they're making records, and still getting out there. And I'll just never forget those concerts that I saw. I don't think of many people the greatest road dog band, I think, one of them of all time. So, I mean, they've been playing live since the 60s. You don't see a lot of bands surviving except for maybe Aerosmith and stuff like that. But it's like, wow, for them to give us that many memories and that much material is epic.
I agree.
Yeah.
Well, Brett, if there's ever anything I can do for you, reach out to.
I will. Thank you, Randy.
My email address is simple. It's randy@boomerocity.com.
I will definitely text you and let you know where we're going. But I would love to do another interview with you when we release some of this new stuff. That would be great.
Let's plan on it.
All right, sounds good.
All right, my friend, take care of that baby.
Right. I will. All right, see ya.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
This has been another fun-filled episode of Boomerocity with your host and producer, Randy Patterson. The theme song for Boomerocity is Roll the Dice and is recorded and used by permission from Quentin Hope. Quentin is spelled Quinten, and Hope is H-O-P as in Paul, E. And you can find out more about Quentin Hope and his music at quintenhope.com. Post-production is done by Cardinal Sins Productions. The Boomerocity name, logo, and content is copyright protected. Segments may only be used with written permission by Boomerocity and or its assignees. Inquiries should be directed to input@boomerocity.com. Copyright 2026.